that back, come I won't fumble. I'm just stacking on the low, but hey, I'm tired of being humble. Let me get to it. That motivation music. Get control of your life, don't let nobody else do it. Cause I'm not gonna have Metro S550s cruising. Feel like you winning on the ground.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. Now, I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like or you dislike, or even if you just want to get your flows off, get a hot take off, go ahead, shoot us a quick take, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will play your take back on our next episode. And then shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. Now, this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I don't know about you, but baseball season is rolling strong. I know I haven't been talking about the Cubs and how they beat the Brewers after the Brewers were on that big 14-game win streak. I know it's crazy, but you can make up for it. You can make up for me not talking about it by using that promo code at The Run Podcast by going to the game. Save yourself $20. Go to the game. And you can just see it right then, there, and live. So, and you know what's crazy is I'm doing all this about the Cubs, and I'm still not about to talk about the Cubs. So I am sorry for those who are big Cubs fans. And, I say I'm going to talk about them, but I guess I was capping. Anyway, there is a Chicago team here that does have my attention, and that is the Chicago Bears. Now, the big question coming into this season, we're a week out of the NFL season. Bears, they're going to be the first game on Monday Night Football, actually, so that'll be interesting to watch. But the big question is, how much will Ben Johnson change within the culture of the Chicago Bears and all of that? I think there is a slight chance that Ben Johnson does come out and lay an egg. Not necessarily in just week one, but before a lot of people get upset at me and say, oh, well, you're just hating on the Bears or you mad at them for whatever reasons that are untrue. I think it's serious, and I think it's a necessity that a lot of Bears fans take into consideration that Ben Johnson may not be the best head coach for the Chicago Bears coming into this season. It's a chance he may flop. And I say it's a chance he may flop only because it's been done on multiple occasions with other players and other coaches and other guys in the league who are great coordinators, but it just so didn't happen to translate to a great head coach. I mean, you look at some of the guys that were there as Bears head coach before Ben Johnson got there. Eberflus was a great coordinator, but he became the head coach of the Bears, did not do a good job. Matt Nagy was also a pretty good coordinator as well with the Kansas City Chiefs, and it also did not turn out to be very well with the Chicago Bears as a head coach. I mean, even other teams, when you go look at it from that aspect, Matt Patricia with the Detroit Lions, when he was there, he was also bad as a head coach, but a great coordinator when he was in New England. So the reason I'm using all of these other examples, and the list goes on and on and on, because you can argue Shanahan, you can argue Dan Quinn with Atlanta, and also in Dallas with the Cowboys. The list goes on and on of these coordinators who were really good at their one specific job, calling the defense, calling the offense. But when it came to being a head coach of any team, they didn't do a good job. They didn't do a good job. Even one of the greatest coordinators right now, one of the hottest coordinators in the league, Vic Fangio, did not do a great job. So the list goes on and on. I'm not going to bore you with the rest of those names of people who did not turn out to be a great head coach after being a great coordinator. But I bring up all of this just to say that it's a slim chance that Ben Johnson may not be a successful head coach. And by successful, I just mean getting to the playoffs and winning. He may not be able to turn around the culture in Chicago like Dan Campbell was able to do in Detroit. It's possible. It's a possibility. And I think, not saying he won't be able to do it, but you have to consider the possibility. That I'm going to just leave it at that. And that's all I'm saying about, Ben Johnson and his time in Chicago. Obviously, this is a start. We haven't seen anything. It's just preseason. But you got to consider that possibility. Now, do I think he will make an impact? Absolutely. And for certain reasons that are undeniable. So when I think of the whole Ben Johnson impact in Chicago and if he can turn around the culture, a couple of things come to mind because I think of the squad that they have, the players and the talent that they've accumulated over this past summer. If somehow Ben Johnson fails to turn around this Chicago Bears team with all the talent that's over there, then yeah, maybe they did make a mistake bringing him in because they have a lot of guys over there. A big issue last year happened to be the offensive line, but they decked up on that offensive line, got multiple All-Pros over there. Drew Dalman, Jonah Jackson, not an All-Pro, but Joe Thuney was also an All-Pro that they added from the Chiefs, who's a Super Bowl champion. So they added a lot of beef up front. They have a lot of depth up front now. And then also they even added some pieces on the defensive end, which was already pretty solid. So with all of that being said, if Ben Johnson comes in and he doesn't have an immediate impact where they're at least doubling the amount of wins that they had last season, which was only 4 or 5, then yes, maybe there is a conversation that needs to be had about what he's really doing in Chicago with all that power that he has there. Because I mean, this squad is set up for success. You have a solid quarterback in Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams will continue to develop as time goes on, but it is tough. He is a young quarterback, and a lot of people don't give that leeway of Caleb Williams being a young quarterback and someone who still has to learn. For some weird reason, we just assume that quarterbacks, regardless of the age, will come into the NFL and tear it up. I don't know why. We see one example or two examples. CJ Stroud, I mean, he tore it up his rookie year, came back, didn't have the best year, still was competitive. But for some weird reason, we think that's the new standard of rookie quarterbacks where they have to come in and, you know, be a star, even like Jaden Daniels. I mean, we don't know what kind of season he's going to have this year, but for some weird reason, the expectation on quarterbacks is crazy right now. It's crazy. And, you know, with the Bears and Caleb Williams, some things that I've seen in the preseason, it did look good where I'm like, okay, that's a beautiful throw. But we've seen Caleb Williams make good throws last year. That was never really the issue in my book of what Caleb Williams was doing wrong compared to last year and what we've seen so far in the preseason. To me, it was always the thing of him holding the ball too long and his lack of awareness. Those are areas where I think Caleb Williams should improve in over the course of a season, especially with the new head coach that obviously knows how to run an offense. And I've seen times in the preseason where he still held on to the ball too long. You had great protection up front, but you got to get rid of the ball at some point. You cannot take a sack. There's always that thing of, oh, yeah, well, he's not throwing interceptions. He's not turning the ball over. But damn it, he will fall to the ground any day and every day if you allow him 7 seconds in extra time in the pocket. For some reason, he will just crumble and fall to the ground. So those are things where it definitely needs to clean up. But I don't think there should be too much pressure on Caleb Williams to really have like an outbreak of a season. He really just has to not mess up with the weapons that they have on the Bears, and he just has to not take sacks. Pause. And like that's, to me, he'll be all right after that. So with that all being said, man, I think the Bears, they're going to be in for a treat this season. I can predict the Bears definitely doubling the amount of wins. But when I look at the Bears schedule, I definitely see some positivity for Bears fans, some things that they would love to hear. If I had to pick a win total, I would probably give the Bears about 8 games. I would make them 8-9 coming into this season, which, you know, I don't think it's anything crazy, but I still think this is a solid move for the Bears to double the amount of wins, or almost double, I guess. But, you know, they had 5 wins last year. If you can somewhat even be in the conversation for a playoff push, I think that would be huge for the Chicago Bears, coming off of the season that they had last year. Obviously, you know, things don't happen overnight, but with the talent, the talent that they have, the new coaching staff that they have, I'm expecting the Bears to at least win 8 games, especially considering this schedule. Like, it's a tough schedule. They got some close matchups, but it's definitely a lot of games in here that are gimmies that they will have to win if they want to see the playoffs or even be in contention for a playoff trip. So I see the Bears winning 8 games, going 8-9. Other than that, though, let me know what you think. I am curious to see what – I never really know what Bears fans, genuinely, I never really know what Bears fans like, what they expect from the team. Because you got different levels of Bears fans. You got the crazy like just psycho Bears fans where they're kind of like the Cowboys of, oh, this is the year, this is the year, this is the year. Then you got the just depressed Bears fans of, oh yeah, we're done. We're never going to be good ever again. This is just a vicious cycle that happens. I enjoyed the time when we had Jay Cutler and the rest of them, but it's never going to happen. Then you got the Bears fans who's kind of optimistic, actually, kind of see the potential that the team has and level-headed a little bit. So I never really know which Bears fans I'm dealing with. Bears fans is interesting, though. Very, very interesting. And I think if they start winning, Bears fans will probably get very, very annoying very fast. But who knows? We'll see. I guess we'll see. All right, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Look, man, we got some more stuff coming up. We got some stuff about the Atlanta Falcons. Their offensive line has been just, in shambles. I'll tell you more about that, but don't go anywhere. Also, some news coming up, some small things that's been happening in the offseason between the NFL teams, some new signings and things like that. It's been a minute since we did news, since it's been slow, but don't go anywhere. It's halftime. We'll be right back. Bears fans, I tell you. Oh, some of the news. I never even did that. Actually, I want to do the other stuff. All right, man. So news for the run. It's very quick, but I think this is some very impactful things, and it's going to help these teams a lot. So Terry McLaurin, I don't know where I got that from. Terry McLaurin of the Washington Commanders recently just signed his deal after making a big fuss about wanting to trade and possibly going somewhere else. Signed a 3-year extension worth $96 million. Happy for him that he got his money. And I'm even more happy for the Commanders that they got their guy back, because that team would not have been the same if they didn't get a chance to re-sign McLaurin. I just don't see it being the same, especially taking away Jaden Daniels' main option would be rough. The whole effect of adding Deebo Samuel wouldn't even be as exciting, because now he would turn into receiver number 1. And typically in the past, whenever we've seen Deebo Samuel as the number 1 option, it just has not looked good. Not saying he can't do it, but it just hasn't looked good based on the evidence that we've seen when he was in San Francisco. So definitely happy for the Commanders that they got their guy, Terry McLaurin. Other than that, man, you got Trey Hendrickson of the Cincinnati Bengals. Weird move here, but Hendrickson signed a 1-year deal for $30 million with the Bengals. This was also a huge fuss going on about if he's going to re-sign, if he's going to be traded, where would he go? And the Bengals, truth be told, I don't think they could afford to lose Hendrickson, because this would have already been a huge blow to their defense, as rough as the defense is and as short-handed as the defense is already. So to me, I'm glad they did make this move and at least bring him back for one more season to try and run it back. So obviously, maybe he leaves next season. Maybe he stays, whatever. Maybe money gets moved around in the NFL. And I feel like it becomes a game of, if you know how to manipulate the money, then you'll have the best roster, because it's insane. It's insane the way they do these things in these professional sports of teams are able to go over this limit and teams can't go over that limit. But that's a whole nother story. Other than that, the last free agent that we're like waiting to see sign, or he's coming up on his deal, is that boy out in Dallas, man. That man out in Dallas, the edge rusher Micah Parsons. He's the last one we're waiting to see. A lot of people expected or still expect Micah Parsons to stay in Dallas, but I mean, we're creeping up on the game day pretty soon. Cowboys, I think they kick off against the Eagles, really. So they're going to be, one of the first teams that's there. But also, I wouldn't put it past Jerry Jones to make, a big statement right before the game or whatever the case is, similar to how he did with Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and all these other guys that they've done. But yeah, the Cowboys, they open against the Eagles. That game is going to be played that one's going to be in Philly. I think it is. I thought it was in Brazil, but I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that part, but they definitely have the first game Thursday Night Football, September 4th, 2025. So excited for that. Other than that, though, man, look, so my Atlanta Falcons, we are beat down, bruised, and beat, man. We are struggling right now with my Atlanta Falcons. So our offensive line, we've lost a couple of different pieces on the Falcons offensive line, man. And I'm starting to worry about how this is really going to affect the offense because as of right now, we lost Caleb McGarry. He's out for a significant time. They never really even stated what the injury was, but they just said he was carted off and it was nasty. It was looking rough and he's going to be out for a significant amount of time is what the report said. Then after that, we had pretty much his backup, Storm Norton. He's also going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. So this is two crucial offensive linemen for the Atlanta Falcons. One is a great pass protector, and the other is just a backup who's also a great dependent coming off the bench and coming off the sidelines to fill in some space. But we lose both of them. So now I'm a little worried. And I'm not going to lie to you. This concerns me because this is Penix's, his right-hand guy, his blindside blocker. And this is someone you can typically depend on when you have to worry about certain protections being called and just worrying about your blind side. I think we all know how important that is for quarterbacks to have protection on their blind side. So I'm a little scared. And, the initial thing that I'm thinking is for the offensive game plan, based on what I've seen last year and what I've seen so far in the preseason, and maybe the Falcons do a complete 360 from everything that happened in the preseason. Who really knows? I guess we'll only be able to tell in week 1, but I'm a little concerned because losing these offensive linemen now puts us at a shortage of hands in the offensive line within our depth, but also thinking about play action, thinking about, these deep bomb plays, explosive plays that happen. I don't know if we'll be able to recreate those things as often as I hoped initially couple weeks back before these injuries happened. And I say this mainly because these explosive plays take time to develop. When you see guys running a deep post route and catching it middle of the field, the quarterback needs time to throw the ball. They need time for these routes to develop. And without two crucial offensive linemen, I'm a little worried for it. Same with play action. A lot of play action plays. Yes, it can happen quick. Sometimes you can get your quarterback out the pocket. They sometimes buy him a little more time in these play action calls, but ultimately, I'm a little worried because these guys were crucial. And I know McGarry and Norton aren't like the best offensive lineman that has ever walked into Atlanta, but these guys definitely are impactful. And I think, come week 1, it's going to change my thought process of what to expect from this team. So initially, I'm thinking, we're routine. Everything is looking very polished, and these plays, we're seeing some explosive plays similar to how we did early on in the season with the Atlanta Falcons, especially in that matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I was expecting something similar to that, but with our offensive lineman being hurt, I don't really know what we'll see. I'm worried. At this point, I know we're going to see some mistakes. As long as it's not the mental errors, I think I can just live and survive with it. But with offensive linemen being down, I know we'll see some mistakes. The run game shouldn't be as bad because we should still be able to move the ball running the ball. Bijan is a great running back. He's great with manipulating space and great footwork, just being able to get to his spots and break out. So I'm not too worried about the run game here. The biggest part here is really just the passing game, play action plays, and just these explosive type of downfield plays. Now, Norton, it's said that we'll probably get him back after 6 to 8 weeks. But McGarry, he's gone. He's probably done for this season. I seen there was rumors of him possibly getting his surgery. I'm a little worried. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a little worried about that. And it's gonna change the perspective of how I'm looking at things in fantasy. Maybe initially I thought Kyle Pitts might have some chances, and this does affect him as well because time to throw the ball is everything. But also maybe it helps him because now if he had less time, maybe we get our tight end involved even more in maybe short routes or just certain plays and where we can get him in certain spots of the field. So maybe this does help, but ultimately definitely concerned about this here. And with Penix Jr., man, losing his blindside blocker, who's a great blocker, someone you could probably even argue is an all-pro, doesn't have those awards to his name yet, but I think this is definitely going to be huge, man. And ultimately, week 1, I'm expecting us still to win against Tampa Bay. Not going to be easy. I'm expecting the shootout. I think it'll be a great game, of course, but the game is going to be in Atlanta at home. So this is going to help the Falcons, of course, but Tampa Bay is not a bad team, man. This is a solid team in Tampa Bay, and we know those division games get nasty. I don't know how many times I always got to say it, but division games get weird, and just anything can happen in those games. So with the Falcons having some injuries on the offensive line, maybe we see Todd Bowles throw some different pass rushes at us, and that's going to be hard to stop. Typically, his pass rush is kind of tricky to score on anyway. So we'll see how it goes. It is a concern losing McGarry and Norton, but hopefully, the Falcons can make something happen, getting on the phone before week 1, bringing in some new guys here. And if so, that would help. I know Cowboys have, I can't remember his name, of course, but Cowboys have an offensive tackle who could probably be a really good help, who's not going to cost too much. And there was multiple moves that was made last year with the Atlanta Falcons right before week 1. So I know it seems like this is a huge hit for the Falcons. Obviously, it does take a hit on the offense, losing McGarry and Norton, who's the backup on the offensive line. But the season obviously hasn't even started yet, and there are still plenty of moves to be made. We just finalized the 53-man roster, so there's still room for guys to get moved around, traded, for picks, whatever the case is. So it can happen, but personally, I'm not happy. I'm not really going to be confident in the offensive. I'm not going to really be confident in the offense's ability to make these big plays until I see us go get another offensive tackle or offensive lineman or right tackle, somebody to just really help us out in that position to fill in where McGarry got hurt. So that's where my thoughts are on that. But other than that, man, look, I'm gonna leave y'all with a positive note here. Positive note is just gonna be super simple. It's just gonna be as simple as I wonder how long I could wait pausing, but to make it dramatic. And then I'm like, let me not even make it that dramatic. I'm sorry. But it's gonna be as simple as just, love those around you, man. Just let people know you love them. Those who you are very close to, those who you really do appreciate, let them know that, you really do love them. Just because anything can happen, man. You never really know what might go down or whatever. So just let those around you know they're appreciated, whether it's friends, family, partners, whatever. Let them know, man. Let them know. Other than that, man, that's all I got. So we'll be back with you later on this week. We'll get some clips out, get the videos out, of course, and then we'll be back later on this week, and so on and so on and so on.